Namaskar, everyone. Welcome you all in this discussion. In this discussion, what I am going to do is 20th of August 2020, in which it decided to set up NRA, that's National Recruitment Agency. That National Recruitment Agency will conduct a CET, that is a Common Eligibility Test examination for various government central government examinations. Particularly at this point in time, NRA will conduct CET, the Tier 1 exam, preliminary exam for IBPS, that's the banking examinations, then RRB, Railway Recruitment Board, and then there is another body, that is SSC's, Services Selection Commission. So these three agencies would then go for the second level and third level of examination based on the scores one has scored in the CET, that's Common Eligibility Test, conducted by NRA. So, and commending this decision, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that this decision, he said, and I quote, the National Recruitment Agency will prove to be a boon for crores of youngsters. Through the common eligibility test, it will eliminate multiple tests and save precious time as well as resources. This will also be a big boost to transparency. So this is what he said in relation to the decision that is taken by the cabinet, Union Cabinet, yesterday. This addressing the press briefing after this decision was taken, Minister of Environment and Forest and Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Mr. Prakash Javadekar, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister for DOPT, and Secretary of DOPT, Mr. C. Chandra Mauli, they addressed the press briefing, and they gave certain details as to what would be done in relation to the setting up of NRA, why this NRA, and what is this CET. So let's discuss some of those details here. So as I said, NRA, that's National Recruitment Agency, will conduct tests for SSC, IBPS, that's banking exams, and RRB, that's Railway Recruitment Board. And these exams would be conducted for Group B non-gazetted services and Group C non-technical and clerical posts. Then this would be an autonomous body. This NRA would be an autonomous body registered as autonomous society under Societies Act. And as of now, as I said, the three agencies that RRB, IBPS, and SSC, these agencies and the concerned officials in these agencies will come together and they will form a governing body under the guidance of the government, and then they will go for once the, as I said, the NRA and the CET, Common Eligibility Test, would be only for Tier 1 exams, that's preliminary exams based on the scores achieved by the candidates in the preliminary exam, then the secondary and the Tier 3 exams, like secondary is the main exam, as I said, and then the Tier 3 exam would be interview, that those would be conducted by the respective agencies. Now this multi-agency body, as I just now explained, will conduct separate tests in the tier 2 and tier 3, and they also will conduct exams at graduate level, higher secondary level, that's after passing 12th, and the matriculate level, that's after 10th. And this exam would be conducted twice a year, not once but twice a year, and the score achieved by the respective candidates in these exams would remain valid for 3 years. So the highest score that is achieved by the candidates or scored by the candidates would remain valid for next 3 years. So based on his scores, he can apply for secondary and tertiary, that is Tier 2 and Tier 3 levels of examinations at various agencies in next 2 years time. Now as I said, why is this decision is being taken? So the government wants to bring the committee and save the precious times and resources, as Prime Minister also observed while commending this decision. The government intends to save candidates time and resources. It also wants to reduce the time cycle of recruitment, since as of now there are somewhere around 20 agencies and round the clock they keep conducting examinations. So this puts in lot of burden, lot of pressure on the recruitment agencies, 20 agencies, and they conduct tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 examinations. That's tier 1 is the preliminary examination. Preliminary examination, as you most of know, that it's just a screening test, as to there are as has been briefed by C. Chandramouli, the cabinet secretary of DOPT. He said that 2.5 to 3 crores of candidates sit for these exams every year, whereas in the vacancies announced by the central government for various posts that we have talked about is somewhere around 1 lakh and 25,000. So all the candidates cannot be allowed for the tier 2 and then tier 3 examination. So the tier 1 examination is essentially a screening test that allows candidates to go for the tier 2, that's main examination, and tier 3 primarily an interview. So the CET conducted by NRA is essentially conducting that would essentially be conducting the primary examination, that's tier 1 examination, that's the screening test, and then the scores achieved in this CET common eligibility test would then allow you to appear for the tier 2 and tier 3 examination. Based on your scores achieved in tier 2 examination, then you would be allowed to appear for the tier 3 examination. So this is the process. We also talked about the government, the allocation of funds. The government has sanctioned 1,05,000 and 1,517. Again, to repeat that, 1,517.57 crores of rupees, and these funds would be used for setting up of NRA, that's National Recruitment Agency. The government also intends to set up examination centers in 117 aspirational districts. Now, what does this mean, aspirational districts? The aspirational districts essentially mean uh, there are certain districts in which, as of now, there are no examination centers for these concerned exams. So, government intends to set the examination centers in such aspirational districts where there are not enough facilities. So, government wants to set up examination centers. Government wants to create infrastructure. The government also wants to take up initiatives to encourage students coming from the rural areas. Government also wants to encourage candidates, women candidates and Divyanga candidates to appear for these examinations. So, these aspirational districts would then have sort of counseling centers to appear for these exams. Also, government intends to set up 24/7 helpline. So if a candidate faces any problem in relation to filling up the form, in relation to appearing for examination, in relation to any other information for that matter concerning that particular examination, the concerned candidate can get in touch with the executive, who would be responsible for giving you the exact information in relation to such details. So these funds would be used for these purposes. Now, again, to recapitulate what we have discussed at till this far, what the NRA, by setting up of NRA, what government intends to do is this: government intends to set up common registration portal. As of now, as I said, there are 20 recruitment agencies. 20 recruitment agencies conduct different exams at different levels and different span of time. So there is a lot of confusion in the minds of students, particularly students coming from the rural areas, women students and the Divyanga students. So sometimes the schedule of the examination also clashes. So in such a situation, most of the time students for. So Since all these agencies would be brought up on a common platform over a period of time, such a difficulty would not be faced by the candidates in the days to come. So, as I said, to recapitulate the discussion so far, the government intends to, or the government by setting up of NRA and by conducting CET common eligibility test through NRA, what government intends to do is it wants to set up common registration portal. Then there would not, since as I said, different exams, different fees. Now, since there would be a common platform, and since there would be a common platform, the candidate would have to pay single fee. Then another important factor, that curriculum. uh, 20 different agencies, they conduct different examinations, and they design different curriculum. So these exams, as we also discussed, that the non-gazetted group B, non-gazetted, and group C, technical positions, and the clerical posts, the level is the same, but exams are conducted by different agencies. They have their own sort of curriculum. So candidates have to prepare for each of the examination differently, and have to have a different strategy to prepare for such examinations. So now, since the exam would be a there would be a common syllabus. So the multiplicity of the syllabus and multiplicity of exam strategies would not be needed. So there would be a common curriculum. Then there would be a standard question bank, common curriculum, and the standard question bank, and secure examination process. It is very important thing, in various parts of India now. When the exams are conducted, there are a lot of difficulties due to lack of infrastructure. Sometimes certain malpractices also take place, which is very problematic to serious candidates. And sometimes if such malpractices occur, then the government has to cancel the examination. So the candidates have put in a lot of efforts and waited for such a long time for the examination to happen, and to get the examination. So instead of prolonging such a situation, the newly introduced pattern through NRA would ensure the security in terms of conducting of examination, quicker generation of results. That is very important. As of now, since there are a lot of agencies and a lot of examination, so a lot of pressure on the recruitment agencies and concerned officials. So since everything would be brought up on the common platform, there would be quicker generation of results, and these exams would be conducted totally on the computers. These examination would be computer based examination. So once you are done with the examination, within short span of time you would know your score, and you keep up with that score. And as I also informed you, that score that you have achieved in that examination would remain valid for next 3 years. That doesn't mean you are not allowed. If you believe that you haven't scored well, so you wouldn't be allowed for sitting you wouldn't be allowed to appear for next examination, is not a case. As I said, the examination would be conducted twice a year, and you can appear, and there is no restriction on number of attempts. As in case of UPSC, there are restriction of number of attempts, or as in case of certain state civil services, there may be some restriction on number of attempts. But the CET common eligibility test, that would be conducted by the NRA, National Recruitment Agency, who hasn't put any sort of restriction on number of attempts. So candidates can keep appearing for these examination. So quicker generation of results, that's what I said to you now. Then reduce time recruitment cycles. So since all these agencies would be brought up together, and since common curriculum, common examination pattern, common level of examination, so the results would be generated in shorter span of time. So the recruitment cycle that used to be very lengthy initially, now would complete in a shorter span of time. That was also, as I said, 1,517.57 crores of allocation of funds for NRA. So this NRA has an objective of setting up of uh, better infrastructure. As we said, 117 aspirational districts. So examination centers would be set up. There would be also counseling centers for students coming from the rural areas, and also there would be a sort of helpline for the students who would certain help in terms of in terms of filling up the forms, writing exams, and very many other difficulties that they might face. So better infrastructure is one of the thing, and then improved facilities for rural candidates, women candidates, and candidates who belong to the Divanga categories. And I have already told you about the aspirational districts, and also what the government is planning to do is it wants to set up examination centers that we have already talked about, but at the same it wants to create better connectivity infrastructure so that there will not be any difficulty in terms of internet connectivity and all, so the examinations can be conducted smoothly. These are some of the features of the NRA, National Recruitment Agency, which will conduct the CET. And why has the government done this? To inform you about some of the reasons, is that these most of these examination centers used to be urban centric, or used to be in the urban areas. Therefore, students coming from the rural areas had to face a lot of difficulties. They had to travel to the place of examination center. They had to arrange for their lodging, boarding, and everything. And women candidates and the Divang candidates, they had to get in escorts with them. So a lot of difficulties, so most of them sometimes used to skip such examination. Now the government intends to set up examination center in every district, and if there are more candidates in one particular district, there can be more than one examination centers in such districts. um, because of lack of infrastructure, and since there was a lot of pressure on the government agencies in terms of providing security, the police forces, also the personnel required for supervision and vigilation. So all these difficulties would also lead to sort of malpractices. But now this new process would try to curb such malpractices and try to ease the entire exam process. As we also said that the Group B non-gazetted posts and the Group C non-technical posts and the clerical posts, the level is same, and but there used to be different different exams, different pattern. So candidates had to prepare for them differently. Now, since there would be commonality, there would be the commonality in terms of there would be a common curriculum, there would be common examination strategy, so that will save a lot of time and resources. uh, it also would help the government to save certain funds and speed up the process of recruitment. So, in conclusion, we can certainly say that this decision by the central government, the decision by the Union Cabinet, is a welcome decision. It will prove a boon, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi also has observed in his comments in relation to setting up of NRA. And in the long term, it would be a really good thing for students coming even from the rural areas, candidates belonging to the women categories and the bank categories, so they can easily travel to their district places or examination center which is closer to their place, and can write those examinations. So this will enhance the representation of this deprived candidates belonging to the deprived sections, women candidates and the Divanga candidates. So, but then it will also bring a sort of parity level. So a lot of those candidates who used to miss. I must also tell you, the candidates coming from the rural areas are really sincere, because they know since childhood they aspire to get a government job, so they put in a lot of efforts. So it will also sort of enhance the competition. It will bring the parity level, and therefore those youngsters who want to take up these exams, that as of now the three agencies for the CET would be conducted for three agencies, that is SSC, Staff Selection Commission, then RRB, Railway Recruitment Board, and IBPS, Banking Examinations. So now there would be a sort of enhanced competition. So you pull up your socks, try and put in your efforts, and clear the exams and get to the service. For listening, all the very best to you. Thank you so much again.